in the city. When we used to drive a Yukon, I pick up whenever you call. So stuck in my head. I love the new album. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Okay. Hello everybody. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Adrian. If you're not new here, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I put myself together today and I feel really pretty and I feel really good. And so here we are. I wanted to start this video off by giving an update. I have not obviously filmed in a while. I'm trying to remember what was, I think my last video was like trying to find normalcy, yeah. And I was in the middle of chemo. I'm still going through chemo, so I'm just like proud of myself for putting myself together and all these things. But yeah, I do have some updates. So I was originally set to do 12 rounds of chemo, and when we got to my like 10th round, I think, I went in, I was so excited. I'm like, I only got 2 left. I'm at the end of the home stretch, but went in for that appointment with my oncologist and unfortunately got the news that I was gonna have to continue chemo and we were gonna have to switch my regimen, because although I've had like a really good response, there was just one trouble area that was no longer responding essentially to the chemo that I was on, and so we needed to switch it and get that spot stable before I can go into surgery, which is when chemo ends. So I'm speaking that now just kind of like neutral verbatim, but obviously, as you could imagine, that was really hard, really scary to hear. Also, no one wants to hear that something has stopped responding when they're going through this. That's like the scariest thing. But like I said, I had a tremendous response prior, and so we basically decided to go back onto the chemo that I had the really good response with, but that was also the one that caused the rash. And so hearing the news that I was going to have to continue for another couple of months at least with chemo, when I was thinking I was going to be done, and then also hearing that I was going to have to go back on the chemo that originally caused that really scary rash, I fell into a very like dark place, honestly, mentally. And I stayed there for a few weeks, and it got really scary at some points, and I'm just sharing this for anybody else who has gone through this and just being really transparent. I was at a place where it felt like it might be easier to just not be here rather than go through it, but deep down I knew that that was not true, and that is not what I want or wanted at all. But I think it was just, I was so deflated and defeated because I had really gotten my hopes up and thinking that I was going to be done. Yeah, and so it just, I got to a really dark place. And in the past, I've struggled with depression before. I've struggled with depression for years, actually, on and off, and I've always known like kind of how to pull myself out of it, and I can like, there's like a cycle to it, and so I could feel it. But this time, instead of trying to pull myself out of it, I decided to let myself be in it within safety, of course. Like I just shared, you know, there was some really dark thoughts going on, but I shared that with my therapist, I shared that with my mom, I shared that with my sister. Like people knew, and I was not alone in it. And so I just let myself be in it within this confines of safety, right? And I think that was actually something that I needed to do, and something that was actually very helpful for me, because I think I've been running from that, especially on this journey. I've not wanted to let myself go there out of fear of would I ever come out? Would I ever feel better again? Would I ever get over the depression if I let myself kind of like succumb to it? And I think that's the fear when depression comes up for a lot of people. But for me, instead of trying to force myself to feel better or force myself to get out of it, I just was in it. And it just, what it did for me was it gave me really deep rest, which was something that I needed. I've been pushing through this journey, just kind of go, trying to make the best of it. And I feel like I really needed to allow myself to just feel deeply and be scared and be sad and feel the grief and do all of that so that I could get through it, instead of trying to avoid all of that. So I was in that for a couple of weeks and then slowly came out. I also did start on an antidepressant. I'm gonna be so transparent about that. And I think that there's nothing wrong with that, especially in a journey like this. I think, you know, it was my sister and my therapist who have said like, why are you making yourself suffer more? Like, you're already going through something so major. Why would you make yourself suffer more by not using these tools that are available. And that's exactly what I think mental health medication is a tool. Yeah, so I started that, and I started feeling slowly better. And so now where I'm at now is we got that news that things would change, like plan was changing beginning of July. So it's been about a month and a half, almost 2 months since then, and I've gone through, I think I've done 3 rounds, I think. Then yeah, because I've done 13 rounds of chemo now, and I'm doing 14 this upcoming week, and that's crazy to say, and that's crazy to think about. 14 rounds of chemo, and there's more to come. So yeah, we're kind of just now waiting to see if this new plan is gonna kick this last little bit, and so that I can start talking about and going into surgery and options for that. So there's still quite a bit of a journey left, and something that also has changed for me is I'm not so focused on the finish line like before. That's what was giving me any kind of like inspiration or motivation or energy, was to focus on being done when I would get done. And I would plan so much for that, and I was planning so much for that I wasn't in the day-to-day. And so something that has shifted as well in the last several weeks has been, I'm just taking it day by day. I'm taking it treatment by treatment. I don't know when my last treatment's gonna be. I don't know when surgery is gonna be. I don't know any of that. And so instead of trying to plan for that and then get disappointed, I am just taking it a day at a time, a treatment at a time, a week at a time. And it's actually been really, really helpful for me to do that. That doesn't mean that I don't have hope and I'm not planning for the future, things like that. Like, that's definitely still there, but I'm not putting all of my energy into the future. I'm really focusing on now and what I can do now to live, to feel better, to, yeah. One thing that I also noticed for myself was I kind of put my whole life on pause with this. It was not intentional. When I first got the diagnosis, I was like, I'm gonna, you know, document this and find purpose in this and all of it, and that was true. But what started to happen was I slowly stopped myself from doing any of these things, slowly stopped myself from living my life, and I realized that I was banking on waiting until I was like done with this journey and through it to then start living my life. But if there's anything, this has taught me a lot of things, but one of the things that has taught me is to not wait. Like, we never ever ever know what tomorrow is going to bring. Whether there's cancer in the picture or not, we never know what tomorrow is going to bring. And so all we have is now, all we have is today. And so I don't want to take another day for granted. I don't want to stop living or wait to live. I've been doing that, whether it was cancer or not, for years now. It was, you know, I'll wait till I have this job, or I'll be in this position, or I have this much money, or until I get this experience that, like, I'm gonna start living my life. But then this happened, and I've realized that, yeah, we're not guaranteed tomorrow. We're not guaranteed anything, and we don't know what's gonna happen. And so living in the moment and living now is of the utmost importance to me. And so, yeah, that looks different every day. Some days living is resting and sleeping all day, and I've been really into Gilmore Girls, so binging that. And because sometimes that's what my body needs, especially going through treatment. I have days where I'm in bed all day and I'm just focusing on nutrition and hydration, but that's also life, and that's living. And yeah, I feel like I've gone on a tangent, so that's how I'm doing. I'm still in the middle of treatment. I'm feeling a lot better. I was struggling there for a while. I am focusing on being present and living in the moment and not taking a day for granted. And I'm just taking everything as it comes. And yeah, I think that's just really suiting me right now. So yeah, we wait to see what happens in the next couple of months. And for right now though, I'm just enjoying today. So that's the update. That was a big update. Okay. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.